This is my story. It starts as a running story in 2006. I turned 60 and I started running marathons. By 2009, I'd run my 5th marathon, and about 3 weeks later, I realized something was wrong in my body. In 2009, the cancer chapters of this story begin. I went in for what we thought was going to be a Whipple procedure, and my surgeon went in and said, I'm going to do orthoscope first, I'm going to get you all ready, but I need to look around. And at that point, he found cells had metastasized to my liver. So we never did the major surgery, and within a week I was on a chemo protocol for about 8 to 9 months. And in February 2010, I went in for the surgery, and he did a partial Whipple, and then for 3 years was completely clean. And then in the diligence of doing scans on a regular basis, started to see signs of tumors growing on the liver. So end of April 2013, had liver surgery. They couldn't do anything about the tumors. So I've been on chemo now for over 14 months to deal with the tumors that are currently still on my liver. I had to learn what cholangiocarcinoma was. So quickly did a study on, what does it mean? Where is it? So cognitively, I had to understand it. And then emotionally, to me, that was the most important piece, was how do I choose to take this on from an emotional perspective? And I consciously chose which way to deal with it. Because fear came up, your own mortality. You acknowledge the fear, but you intentionally don't let it stop you. It's like owning the fear, and we all have fear. But you just have to move through it. The running really taught me how to take on the cancer, that you set long-term goals, and each step is a way to attain that long-term goal. So when I put the cancer in the same context, it put me at ease and said, well, I can do this. This is another marathon. And the discipline of learning how to run marathons, it's as much a mental discipline, and you learn that you can actually get beyond pain and what you ever thought you could before, and go, oh, I actually did 26 miles. So every step of the cancer story was the same thing as, well, this is like running mile 20 to get to mile 26.
He always just wanted to know what the first step was, what he needed to do, and then he could just wrap his brain just on that single thing. That's basically what he's done the whole time, just, in kind of marathon terms, 1 mile at a time.
And when I chose to start running marathons, I was very deliberate and said, my running of marathons cannot take away from my participation in family, and I have to spend time running. So I figured out a way to do it. The same with the cancer is, I have cancer, but I'm not going to let it stop me from being a participant in the most active way I can as a father, as a spouse, and as a family head. So it becomes the new normal. It's integrating the cancer into your quote-unquote normal life, and then so there's really alleviates any feeling of guilt.
It's crazy how he manages to deal with his everyday life and come and visit us so often while fighting it. It's kind of crazy.
Once I realized I had a chronic disease, just like people have diabetes or other situations, that I'm going to have this the rest of my life, however long that is. The phrase I like to use is, I have a disease, the disease doesn't have me. As the side effects kicked in, the main one was tiredness and management of energy, and a few other side effects. But you take it on, and you manage your energy differently, and you do what you can to deal with whatever side effects come up, and you're very cognizant of it. But once again, you don't let it stop you. You just keep moving through life.
He's the same guy, doesn't play the victim role, and he tells us to stay positive, and he's leading by example by staying positive, so that's what I'm doing as well.
We all have a finite number of days in our lives. We don't know what that is. So it's not about the quantity of time. It's about, what are you doing today? Every day is a learning opportunity. What did I learn today? Who am I with the people I care about today? And today's a good day because I'm here. I'm living it. I'm still here. And we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And so if you can't, to me, you can't look at it as, oh, I got 5 years left, 10 years left. We don't know how long we have left. So what are you doing today? What are you waiting for? When I coach with leaders as part of my consulting practice, I always talk about leadership as being your influencers. So I learned again from my cancer story how I chose to take it on, how I chose to deal with it. But then I realized then that spreads and influences others. So you really become a center of influence for those people around you, which is very important for the caregivers in your family and the deep relationships you have with people.
Dad's always been so encouraging in his story, just seeing, him go through the emotions too. And, I've seen him be really upset and just more positive than we are at times, and that's amazing.
It's when I turned 60 and started to run marathons. My wife gave me a t-shirt. It said Geezer Jock on it, which I took on as my running handle. And I really embraced that you can be a quote-unquote geezer and still be a jock.
Wears that slogan proudly on his shirt and at the hospital. Anywhere he's at, he wants to be known as Geezer Jock.
When I had done 5 marathons, I had cancer, I had to deal with that. And then there was a period in 2011 when I went back and ran Boston for the second time and New York City Marathon for the first time, that I had a Geezer Jock t-shirt and I put Boston 2009, Cancer 2010, Boston 2011, and New York City 2011. At about mile 18 or so in New York City, a woman came up and started talking to me as we were running, and she said, I loved your shirt and it gives me great hope. And I said, why? And she said, I'm a nurse and I see lots of stories every day, and your story really brings me hope and joy to see you out here running a marathon. So that was inspirational. I stopped reading statistics because I'm not a statistic, I'm an individual. And then as you get into treatment, you realize everybody deals with whatever chemo protocol they're dealing with differently. So just take it on for your particular individual. You happen to have cholangiocarcinoma, we're all brothers and sisters in that particular domain, but how we deal with it is up to us, and that's the most important thing.
Who really can say that I've run like over 5 marathons and I've had cancer twice and I'm still alive?
This is my ongoing story. It's 5 years now and I continue to create it every day the way I choose to create it.